All right, so let's get into it.
Sure.
Okay, so maybe I'll let you say like what happened, when it happened.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess kind of just I guess fast forward till last year. Well, I guess even would be like 2024, like around the fall is I started kind of exhibiting a lot of symptoms.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Journey Journals podcast. I've got Renan Cabrera here. Hello, Renan.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being part of this episode. I really, really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, you know what? We're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna start with this. What did
Okay.
you do a couple days ago?
Couple of days ago, oh man, it's
That
always
was
a blur
pretty
when you
that was
kind of
pretty
like
pretty
talking about
crazy.
yeah, now it's coming back to me. Yeah, no, I went skydiving on yeah. Yeah, I went skydiving in Pemberton. Took a blend of like friends and coworkers. We had like 8 of us, and it was like a full day event. And it was my second time skydiving. And I think now I'm starting to kind of be like, you know what? Maybe this will kind of be like the kickstart to my summers. And I'm going to do one at the tail end of summer just to kind of a nice bookend experience. So yeah, it's become like kind of my new thing. I love it. And like just try to recruit and connect with just people that I bond with, and just sharing this new experience. I think it just kind of, yeah, it just elevates relationships just because, you bond over this wild experience because skydiving on its own is like kind of irrational. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it, right? But yeah, it was amazing. We had like perfect weather on our end. Um, just to see it kind of from a bird's eye view, the mountains and the lakes. And yeah, it was amazing. Love it.
Yeah. Would have you ever done bungee jumping?
I did. I also did Whistler, the bungee jump. And
Okay.
if I were to compare it, skydiving, well, sorry, bungee is way scarier. I
That's
think
what I think.
it is like in the sense that, you have to be the one to voluntarily jump, whereas skydiving is like the decision's made for you anyway. So and I'm asking the guy as we're parachuting down, like, hey, how many jumps have you done? And he's like, oh, 10,000. So it just makes you feel better, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that he did each person of our group, that was like 8 of us, and he was doing 12 jumps in a day. So it just kind of like this is his day job.
So you do one at a time.
It was
Like
one at a time. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
you go so the plane goes up, you go how long will that take
So
altogether?
yeah, I mean, the free fall is like just under a minute. And then the parachute goes up, and then it's kind of like maybe, I want to say like 6, 7 minutes to kind of parachute all the way down. And then
So
and then right when you land, he's like unhooking. He grabs the next parachute and he's on to the next person.
oh,
So
it's like but then like the plane like this still has to do its thing, right?
yeah, and then yeah, you got to wait for the plane to come land, and then yeah, load the next person, and then
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. But it's
That's
cool, Yeah, everyone gets their kind of like cheers and support, and then you know what I mean. So yeah,
yeah.
it was a great day.
I always pictured it that like everyone gets their own person. They're in the plane, and then like
Well,
you just shove one out.
yeah, well, no, like that was kind of the experience in Abbotsford when I did it last year.
Ah, okay, okay.
You're kind of crammed into this plane like sardines, and it's max 4 of you, but you're all tied to a person, right? So, and that experience was wild on its own because you know, I saw my cousin-in-law, she was first, and then the door opens, the wind is roaring, and then she goes off, and you just see this person just get zipped, like sucked by the air, right? So it's kind of a wild experience to see it on that in that perspective, right? But yeah, so this was a different way. Definitely I prefer Pemberton just because of the view. It was amazing, right?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we'll see what I mean, you're always welcome to come to the the August one.
Maybe August next year. I don't know. That like this my worst fear is like heights. Like I get Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and and I had a friend that was just completely terrified of going, but after some convincing, he was like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. And then for him, after the jump, he was like, yeah, I want to do it again. So I think it's nobody that goes skydiving, I think, regrets their decision. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it
We'll
at that.
see. I'm all about facing fears, so we'll see. We'll see.
Mm,
Never say never.
mhm.
But yeah, sorry, fast forwarded there.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
No, no, that was me because I was just like, I want to know. Okay, so um, how I know Renan, we went to high school together. He went to elementary school with my best friend, Renee. But I'll let you talk a little bit about childhood. Like, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? How's your family?
Yeah. Yeah, my well, I guess came from immigrant parents. My parents came to Vancouver when they were around 20. My mom is Mexican, my dad is from Peru. I have two sisters.
Okay, I did
Mainly
not
grew
know
up,
that.
yeah, I know. Mainly grew up with one. Um, and Nayeli, who you know, right?
Mhm.
And she's 1 year younger, and we were very close. But I kind of bounced around a lot. I moved. I initially started in Vancouver, then went to Delta, or sorry, Richmond, then Delta, then back to Richmond. And then, yeah, initially finally settled in Richmond, where I went to, McNeely and then Canby Secondary, right? Where I eventually met my wife. Um, and then people are always like, "Oh, so you married your high school sweetheart?" It's like, no, 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 no. That was not,
Love
that
this
is not the
story.
story. Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, like, met her there. I definitely had a crush on her throughout high school, and we had classes together. And I'd always kind of sneak a peek of her face from afar, and
How could you
just
not though?
you get. Oh yeah, she was so beautiful, right? And I get the butterflies, and um, I always think back to grade 12 dinner dance, prom, I guess, and then I remember wanting to uh asking, I wanted to ask her for the final dance, right? But I got too nervous and I was like, no. Um, but then I always think back, I'm like, man, if let's say she had said yes, if I actually mustered up the courage and asked her and she actually said yes, maybe the trajectory would have been different, right? The butterfly effect would have
Yeah,
changed and maybe we wouldn't have got married, right? So, I
yeah.
always think back to that. But yeah, I mean, obviously we ended up um, connecting after college days, and it'll be 14 years of marriage next week. So yeah, it's exciting, and we have a 3-year-old daughter, Solana, and yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's funny how you had the guts to go skydiving, but couldn't ask a girl.
Yeah, 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 for sure. In many ways, it's a different type of courage, I think,
Yeah,
right? A
yeah.
different type of yeah, it is funny, but yeah, no, it all worked out, and I'm happy that things played out the way it did, and we have the family we have now, and yeah, I couldn't be more happier.
You know what I love about your wedding? I love how
Mm.
you had both aspects, like your heritage and hers, like combined. I just love that.
Yeah, so yeah, it ended up being kind of like um, almost like when the guests, we kind of wanted to make it like, hey, this is kind of like a field trip, right? Like a little museum into seeing the beauty of both kind of rich cultures,
Mhm,
you get the
mhm,
Mexican side, and for me it was important for my ceremony to wear my charro. It's like
mhm,
it's like mariachi suit.
mhm.
Um, and walking down the aisle carrying my sombrero and walking with my grandpa, I think that was just very special to me. um and then yeah, in the reception we did like a bit of a Korean tea ceremony, and that was, yeah, it was amazing, and we dressed up in the hanbok, and it
Yeah.
was amazing, right? And even now, right, I think that still translates into kind of how we want to put that forward to Solana, right?
Mhm.
We want our daughter to kind of experience the richness of both cultures, and Yeah, it's very important to us.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's so cute.
Thank
Like,
you.
oh man, you guys made a so I'm glad that you got the girl. Good job.
Mm, persistence paid off.
Yeah, how long did it take?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's oof. In terms of like active trying, I think, yeah, maybe 3, 4 years of like putting myself out there, asking her out. She denied me. And then a year later, I asked her out again. She denied me. So it was kind of the third time's a charm. And she was like, you know what? Okay, fine. All right. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was one of those things that I think just worked out in my favor. Right. But
In
yeah, it
hers
was good.
too. Um, see, hear that, men? Do not give up. Do not give up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of generalizing here, but I think men need to have that chase, I think. And I think I still feel this intoxication of, the allure of Christina. Like she's very, she'll always laugh when I use that word, because for me, it's like if I were to describe her in a way, it would be intoxicating for me. She's an enigma to me, and it's something that just like a puzzle that I just can't quite figure out. And I think, yeah, guys have to have that chase. They always feel like they got so lucky, right? Because I think guys can fall into a place of complacency. So I think always just having that spark, I think, is very important.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I love that. No, thank you. And I want every guy to hear that. Um, okay, so let's fast forward. When
Mhm.
you met Christina, were you a lifeguard? Or sorry,
Uh,
when you guys started dating?
yeah, dating. Yeah, I was a lifeguard at the time. So working with the city of Richmond, Richmond Aquatics for about 8 years. But yeah, when we started dating, yeah, I was a lifeguard at the time and still
Dude,
going to
that's
school.
hot. There you go. That's a plus.
Yeah, yeah. So
And then you started pursuing policing after that, right?
yeah, so that's right. I mean, I did my schooling in Langara. I got my degree in international business, and I did some jobs within that field, but it just wasn't for me. And then I had some friends that were first responders, whether it was paramedics, fire, police, and um, I actually did a ride along with uh, a firefighter, and just yeah, maybe it just wasn't for me. And then I did a ride along with policing, and I was like, okay, it just opened up a whole new world, right?
You're like,
So
this is my jam.
yeah, this is it. So yeah, that was around 2015. So yeah, it's been almost 11 years with Vancouver Police. It's been one of the most rewarding experiences. I worked 7 years in the northeast of Vancouver, so that encompassed kind of the downtown east side, Strathcona, Renfrew, that whole area. Definitely longer than I should have in that, they usually say kind of like max you want to work in that downtown east side area is 3 years, and I worked 7. So um,
Oh.
yeah, and then from there, the plan was always to work with youth. I've always wanted to work with youth, and just be on the more proactive side of policing. And yeah, eventually became a school liaison officer. So I work with a school in East Vancouver, and that has been like the most rewarding experience of my life, working with youth and just kind of the day to day. They come to my office, they tell me about their issues, and we kind of work through it. And just working with the amazing faculty and staff, counseling team, like it's been so great. And I think that's kind of the thing, like, when kids go to school, that whole idea of like it takes a village, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of, the amazing support systems now that we have in place for a kid to succeed. Um, yeah, it's all there, right? And I'm just happy to be part of that kind of village piece.
No, that's so cool. And I love people who actually like do something for the world, you know what I mean? Make
Mhm.
an impact in people's lives. So yeah, no, thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, All right, so let's get into it.
Sure.
Okay, so maybe I'll let you say like what happened, when it happened.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess kind of just I guess fast forward till last year. Well, I guess even would be like 2024, like around the fall is I started kind of exhibiting a lot of symptoms in terms of passing of stool. You know, I was passing a lot of blood in my stool, and my stool was different. I was going to the bathroom like 30 times a day. Um, and again, this was incremental, like throughout the months. Um, and I brought it out to my doctor, and my doctor was like, "No, like you're young, your blood tests are coming back normal. Like, it's probably like what's it called?
IBS?
Irritable, yeah, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or disease, or colitis, or one of those things, right?"
Hmm.
So I was going to naturopath. I was doing all these things, and but I think around November, December of 2024 is when I started to like lose weight dramatically, and it was like 30 pounds within a month. Um, and it was affecting my sleep. Like I was sleeping maybe 1 hour, 2 hours a day.
Oh my God.
Um, and not only that, but I was feeling this just constant pressure, just in the rectal area, and to the to the point where I was doing like Cirque du Soleil sleep moves. Like I was like on the couch, but kind of on my back with my like feet up, and that's how I was like trying to sleep, just because I was trying to relieve pressure.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, so it's very painful, very discomforting. And then, Christina, my wife, she just kept pushing, right? She kept pushing the doctor like, no, this is not normal, you know. And I think in my little monkey brain, right, I was kind of like kind of trusting the doctor's assessment of like, okay, like, well, she obviously knows, but pushing for the colonoscopy, right? So, Christina kept pushing, pushing. Initially, I had a colonoscopy scheduled for June of 2025. And Christina was like, no, he can't wait that long. Like, again, I was losing so much weight. It was getting no sleep. I was in constant pain. And then a general surgeon looked at my case and he's like, okay, let's try and get you in, and fitted me in for January. And so, yeah, January 2025, I did my colonoscopy. And then it was revealed that, yeah, I had a mass or tumor in my rectum, and it was confirmed cancerous. So, um, it was a bit of a shock. And although I remember feeling just like like crazy sense of relief, that was my first initial feeling, just because it was like, okay, I'm not going crazy. Finally, at least I know what is happening inside, um, and then yeah, once the shock kind of subsides, then you realize, okay, like we're in it, and and I never really had a idea as to kind of what cancer the cancer journey entailed, right? You just hear chemo and like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't really have a connection with it. So, um, but then, a few months later, we found that it had traveled to my liver, and there was two spots in my liver. So we had like something called an ablation surgery, where they just insert a needle and they kind of blast it with this microwave uh, heat or technology. So got rid of those lesions, and then did more CT scans, and it showed like, oh no, they're back, and did radiation, and I've been on chemo since last year, like April, May, and yeah, and then we found that it spread to my lungs. So, there's numerous lesions in my lungs. It's still in my liver, and my rectum area is still present. So, yeah, so I've been staged as stage 4 rectal cancer, which is the last stage. Um, and that stage 4 is when there's spread to other organs. So, um, yeah, I've been living with this kind of dark cloud for since last year, and now it's kind of become kind of the new normal. of chemo treatments, and I've been kind of pairing it up with naturopathic, kind of a holistic approach to my treatments, just to kind of combat the side effects from chemo.
Mhm.
So yeah, every 3 weeks is kind of a cycle of IVs, getting chemo through an IV, and then pill form. So that kind of just, it's obviously a lot of poison entering your system. Um, but yeah, it's been a process. Again, my mental state is different now than it was at that time, right? And I've grown and just seeing things differently and conduct my life in a little bit different now. And yeah, that's kind of been the journey.
First of all, I'm so sorry. Like, why does it happen to good people? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, totally.
right.
And I initially, the initial question, I'm sure that every, cancer patient goes through is kind of the why me, right?
Yeah.
Right. But then sometimes, I've kind of had to reframe things, and in a way it's kind of why not me? It's like, I think it's one of these things that you get tested in many different ways. Sometimes, again, you kind of go through life maybe sitting on the bleachers, kind of watching the game of life kind of play out in front of you, but then you get this thing to kickstart you, kind of like kick you in the ass and say, like, you kind of have to live life a little bit more intentionally. Like, hey, why don't you enter that game? Why don't you go? So yeah, I think yeah, in a way I've seen many blessings come out of it. And um we're in definitely in a more joyous space now that we've have time to reflect and use that time that we have a little bit more intentionally. So
Yeah. And your doctor was probably like, "No, you're fine because you're so healthy. Like like
yeah, no, for sure.
compared to
Like I
the
had a
average person, like you're
yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. Like, fitness was a part of my life. I wasn't eating like crap either. I was generally what you would consider just a healthy person, right?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it kind of cancer is it doesn't discriminate.
No.
So,
And I think that's like a thing that I thought before, like not recently, but like
mhm.
I'm like, oh, it's because people are unhealthy, that's why they get cancer, but it's not. It can
Yeah,
anyone can get it anytime.
totally, for sure.
And yeah, you don't know. Um and like you said, your how your mindset is incredible. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people would just do the opposite of what you're doing. And it seems like you're just grateful for everything all the time.
For sure, for sure. And it is easy to get down into kind of like a downward spiral of thinking, for sure. It starts with the why me, and then it kind of goes down the list. And not only that, but you're combating the nausea and the feelings of chemo and all that stuff. So that's entering, so you're not ever feeling at 100%, right? So there's constant discomfort. Um, but yeah, that being said, I think reframing things, I think, is so important in this journey. Like, it's, again, like when people say, it's it's um it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's true, right? Like, there is no finishing line. Every time I thought like a finishing line, when they're like, oh, your chemo is going to be done at the 11th round. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, yes. Like, I was feeling so happy and ecstatic. And then the 11th round came and they're like, no, we have to continue. And now now it's kind of like your chemo for life. So when I heard that, it was like very defeating, um, and painful, but there's no benefit for me to feel this self-defeat.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't benefit me in any way. Right. So, yeah, it's kind of just keep chugging along, keep looking at things, with grateful eyes. And yeah, it's definitely changed kind of how I approach life every day. So,
How has your body taken the medication?
um, I kind of ebbs and flows, right? Like, we've had to kind of switch chemos because chemo works until it doesn't, like cancer is one of those things that kind of mutates, right? So it starts to recognize, hey, this thing is like, attacking, but then it starts adapting and
Mhm.
mutating, and then it fights back. So it's always this kind of like back and forth between treatment, chemo, and targeted therapy and the cancer. It's always
Mhm.
kind of like they're one-upping each other,
Yeah.
So yeah, it is it's a constant battle, and yeah, like I'd say the most like common effects is nausea, fatigue, and it hits you hard. Um, so it's one of those things where you have to understand like, hey, my body is reacting to a certain way, and then how do I communicate this with the day-to-day responsibilities as a father, right? And or as a partner, right? Like, where I have to tell Christina like, hey, I'm feeling this certain way, and then she's kind of has to like step it up on her end, and then I have to kind of, but when I'm feeling good, then I have to step it up on my end. And so it's kind of like this interplay, um, and balance of just like, this is kind of this thing always rearing its ugly head, right?
Mhm.
And how do we adapt? And yeah, so that's kind of
How have you
the,
guys adapted? Like how what have you guys done that helps?
I, th- it's kind of, we're always talking about this. It's kind of like a constant interplay of like, me trying to battle this kind of personal fulfillment with the allotted time that I have, mixed with the day-to-day responsibilities of just parenting, mixed also with the um uh the time that I also give to my partner, Christina, right? So it's
Mhm.
kind of this little trinity of sorts, and cancer definitely kind of just amplifies either issues or good things, so yeah, it's this balancing act that I have to continue to do, right? Because if I want to, like skydiving, that's my own kind of thing, that's my own personal fulfillment of what I seek out of life, and like trying to, um, enjoy kind of what life has to offer, right? But I also kind of want to see Soul looking at her dad that, hey, he's like, he's happy, he's doing things that make him happy, so I think it is important for her to see that, right? And I think that just kind of bleeds into the parenting style, right? Like of like, if I'm feeling personally fulfilled, then I feel like I can just give more um, quality time to Solana. Not
Mhm.
only that, also to Christina. So I think, yeah, it's just this balancing act that I think now we're getting, we found a rhythm now.
Yeah. And shout out to Christina. Mhm.
Yeah, big shout out, right? Because again, people always look at the person that's kind of like, this person is going through cancer, but it's like, okay, but there's also a supporting character, and they're just as important because they're going through it too, right? So major shout out to Christina, right? So and her patience and her constant encouragement, and I think it is important for that supporting role to have their own supports, right?
Mhm.
That whether they want to rant to their group of friends about the treatments and all that stuff, right? But no, she's been great. She goes to all my appointments. It's like a badge of honor for her to take me and be by my side, hold my hand throughout the discomfort of receiving chemo, right? So that's been great.
Is it, I've never seen or been with someone going through like getting it. Does it
Hmm.
hurt while you're getting it?
Yeah, like chemo, especially like in the first months of chemo, there was a chemo that I was receiving called oxaliplatin, and it was, it was a 2 hour IV. So you have this like chemical going into your IV, and like, and you can like just feel it kind of circulating in your system. And yeah, it feels like torture to be honest. You know, it's yeah, like it feels like just poison entering your body. And then, we had tough times where it would make me very nauseated, and then I would be vomiting throughout the treatment, and that treatment would, because they'd have to reassess, take out the take out the IV and like put it back in. It's like it became like a 5, 6 hour uh stint at the hospital. So yeah, it wasn't fun, you know. So now we've gone into a little bit of a better, my body seems to be kind of taking it better. And I think that's matched with the naturopathic treatments that I've been doing to combat those symptoms, and also utilizing fasting to kind of help, um, again, combat those symptoms of chemo.
Mm,
So I am going into chemo kind of with kind of better armor. And it seems to be going much better now. So yeah.
yeah. I'm all about the holisticness. So
Oh,
yeah.
totally. Yeah. And then again, it's like, if somebody told me that, they had cancer or they knew somebody that was going through it, I would obviously, respect their path, but I'd suggest like, man, holistic, naturopathic treatments have been kind of like a game changer in just terms of not only how I just see health, but the
Mhm.
way it's actually made me feel, right? So yeah, no, it's been great.
Um, does Solana know what's happening, or I know she's still three there, but
Yeah, so yeah, she's 3.5, and she'll often see me with just bandages, and whether it's on my, hand or um forearm and stuff, she'll just always see bandages. Oh, daddy, owie, owie. And I think that's kind of like the extent of her kind of knowledge, just that, and then she sees kind of facial changes. She sees a lot of like the rash that I have from the treatments. And I think it's just, yeah, she doesn't think much more of it,
mm,
right? And we keep it like separate, right? I never show that I'm, in discomfort or hurting, but that being said, we've actually reached out to a counselor, like a family counselor, and we've actually started sessions to kind of um eventually see kind of what's developmentally appropriate for her age, right? And
mhm.
when you actually start sharing that knowledge, how you share that knowledge. Um, yeah, because at the end of the day, right, we don't know the inevitability of things, right? And we just have to just prepare, right? And we want to be in a state that we're ahead of it rather than reacting, right? So,
Yeah.
and that if that Christina's never in a position of like, oh shoot, what do I do? Like I don't have the tools, right? So yeah, we're just trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah. Counselors, so they're the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're great. Yeah.
Especially like play therapy for kids, totally the amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
went through
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Um, so I know that you got some good news though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the latest CT result, which was last month now. Yeah, it did show a shrinkage in tumors in all areas. So that was, yeah, that was great. And that was finally the first bit of good news, because every other CT scan before that was like just bad news. It's like, oh, there's more, or they're bigger. Um, so this was the first time it's like, no, things are stabilized and shrinking. So now, because this was the first of that type of result, then now you kind of just have to wait for the next scan to show that, hey, there's actually a downward trend in in your lesion amounts and sizes, right? So, yeah, it does give you a little bit of this scanxiety, I guess, is the term that gets
Mm,
floated around in the community. But yeah, there is some anxiety going in, but also kind of excitement, right? And it's kind of weird living life like 3 months at a time, because that's when the scans are,
mm,
because that's kind of when okay, things are working or things aren't working, and then if we have to pivot or adapt, right? So,
yeah. So that was it May, April?
what are we, June? Yeah, I think, ooh, May, June, July. Yeah, just, yeah, late April.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
next like that it comes up pretty fast though.
It does, for sure.
Yeah,
Especially
but
when you're filling up your days, right? And trying
yeah,
to kind of maximize the time that's given to you. So,
yeah,
whether it's going on little staycations or doing little mini things with the family, like
mhm.
that's it goes by quick.
Yeah. I saw you guys came back from Hawaii.
Yes, yes. So Hawaii was great, and we were just kind of just under 2 weeks in Waikiki, and that whole trip was primarily funded by the Forward Foundation, and the Forward Foundation is like a group of donors that um, yeah, provide kind of once in a lifetime experiences to families with a person that has kind of like a limiting illness. Um, and yeah, it was so amazing, right? Not to have that kind of financial burden.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, we couldn't be any more than grateful for that type of experience. So
Yeah, your pictures are amazing.
thank you.
Um, did the doctor ever give you like any timelines or any of that, or are you like the type of person like, don't tell me, don't want to know?
Yeah, to be honest, like I've never really asked for kind of like I already know the prognosis in terms of kind of the general statistics. Um, and yeah, I mean it's definitely not on my side, but um, I never specifically asked the doctor like, hey, what are we looking at timeline? No,
Mhm.
for me it doesn't really. I feel like they don't really even know either. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, they kind of just have this guesstimate
Or like
and
what's happened in the past?
yeah,
Things change so
yeah,
much.
things change and every single person is different. The way the cancer moves in their body, like it's just so different. So for me, it's kind of like a baseless question.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not that I want to hear the answer, but
Yeah.
again, that answer is coming from like a place of, just guessing, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, doesn't really faze me. That being said, it was kind of like a kick in the pants when last year when I asked my oncologist, like, had I waited for that June colonoscopy,
Mm.
what would have changed? And he was like, yeah, you wouldn't have made it. So that was kind of like, oh shoot, like, um, grateful for, I guess, me being where I'm at now, even if I'm in the treatment process, like I'm still grateful for how things could have already been different, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Like not just men, but a lot of men, when
mm,
they feel something, they ignore it. So do you know what I mean?
mhm.
What would you say to people? Like, did you kind of know you're like, no, something's up? Or were you
Yeah.
like, no, I think it's just a little something, it'll go away, or what was your mindset at that?
Yeah, like I remember always, yeah, like when I was first getting kind of blood in the stool, I was like, oh, because I wasn't actually feeling real like pain when I was passing anything. It was just
Mhm.
I just started noticing blood, and then um yeah, and the doctor first said, oh yeah, it's hemorrhoids for sure. All right. I was like, oh, okay. They're like, oh yeah, hemorrhoids are whatever, benign. Here's some cream, you know. So yeah, again, you go in trusting your doctor and then yeah, I guess having that guy brain, right? You're kind of like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's it. And that's what it is. You don't kind of think beyond, right?
Mhm.
But now, yeah, I mean, when I'm having conversations, with like my friends or coworkers, when I'm telling the guys, like, get checked. Do not like just schedule a colonoscopy. Just like schedule one. You know what I mean? Like get
Yeah.
it done. Because the trend has been, young people getting it, like people in their 30s, 35, like and I've already seen that there's already been a push for mandatory testing, like younger screening, I think
Mhm.
40, 45 or whatever. But all the doctors, the oncologists is saying like, yeah, we're starting to see this crazy new trend of like young people getting it.
Mhm.
Um,
Is it
and it's gonna be one of
hereditary
those
or
things.
like
Well, and
genetic
that's the
or?
thing. Well, I think they're doing studies now and we won't see those results till later, but yeah,
Mhm.
like it's just a guess. Environmental um variables or genetic, it's just yeah, it's all up in the air. We have no idea. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I encourage everyone. And if you can't get it done, go to go travel, go to Japan and then get like a nice full spa treatment,
Mm.
get a full diagnostic, and it's like, I don't know, $1,000 to get it done. And then boom. you have your
I'm going
result,
to Japan actually.
do it. You might as well. Honestly, I encourage everybody that can get it. Like if they, what's $1,000 to know kind of your a full scope of your body, your health, keep up to date. And
Mhm.
even just like having, man, I wish I had known about just the importance of gut health. That's just such a big thing, right? Inflammation, all that stuff, right? It all plays a role.
Like, you know how many people I talk to about,
Mm.
sorry guys, but about poop, and like I'm like, I don't understand like how you live with that. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
totally.
and like it's just like an everyday thing. I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
totally. It's like inspect your poo, look at it,
yeah,
get to know your poo. Like seriously, right?
like
So that, when something's off, right? Like that is your body's way of revealing kind of what's going on inside, right?
exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like I was listening to a really good podcast actually
Hmm.
about it and Mel Robbins
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah,
love
yeah.
her. Yeah, and they were just talking about like this is how it should feel. Like you should feel great after, not like not shitty, and it should like and you should be in the bathroom like literally like under a couple minutes.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, I know people that are in there for like 20, 25 minutes. And I'm like, unless you're
Oh yeah.
scrolling or whatever and you're trying to get away. But yeah,
Yeah, and now people start to see, people doom scroll and it's like 5, 10 minutes, and that actually causes like issues,
yeah,
that can actually cause hemorrhoids, So
yeah,
yeah, so I think yeah, people just kind of have to take a little bit more of a proactive approach in their gut health and um yeah, don't ignore the signs.
yeah. What is something that you didn't know about cancer that you now are like, what? Like you've learned like one of the biggest things.
Um, I think just kind of how vast it is, like, um in terms of like if you go in the chemo ward, it's like bustling. There's tons of people that have cancer and different types of cancer, and it's just like everyone's got their story, and it was just amazing to me to just see that and just being like, oh man, like yeah, there's no in a way you don't it's like you don't have that you don't feel special going in because you're just like a number in a way,
Mhm,
and it's kind of the sad that's kind of the sad realization of just like um how yeah, contagious this disease is, right? In terms of just how many people are affected by it. Um, and yeah, I think it was just very astonishing to me just to see like, and it just again, it doesn't discriminate. I saw people from like 17 years of age in the chemo ward to just like all the way up to like 100, you know. Um, so yeah, it's sad, And then in your mind on, it's kind of like Renan, but you were 39 when you were diagnosed. You're so young, and then you go in there and you see a 18-year-old, and it puts things into perspective
mhm,
of, okay, just be grateful that you're in this place and you have your own battle, but that person has their battle and they're facing it
mhm,
at even a more young age. So yeah, I think just constantly putting things into perspective and kind of like in the bigger picture. Um, Yeah, and then in terms of just like the actual treatment of things, again, like me not knowing about what chemo actually entailed, what it even meant, you
mhm,
know. I actually thought I was going to be in the hospital like for like days on end. That's what I thought. It's like, oh, you're on chemo and you're just like in the hospital the whole time. That's what I thought. But there's been so many advancements in cancer treatments and immunotherapy and even naturopathic practices around it. Um, so I think just being exposed to the whole world kind of circulating around cancer, I think, yeah, it's been, yeah, eye-opening for sure.
Um, what is one thing that if someone were to find out they got cancer, like for their mental state, like what would you say to help them?
Um, I think I mean, I would definitely say, leaning on your supports, um, whether it's family or friends, if they want to help you, trust in them, allow yourself to kind of accept the goodness around you, the goodness that people have. Um, because I think it can be one of those things where it starts to feel like you want to kind of self-isolate. You kind of want to hermit yourself. And then, even people kind of reaching out, you're like, no, 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 I'm fine, I'm fine. No,
Mm-hmm.
trust, just use that support to kind of, to lift you up and to kind of battle the day to day, because again, it is a marathon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seeing any setback, I think kind of whether it's physical, mental, emotional, and use it kind of as an opportunity, I think those type of things are essential to kind of growth
Mm-hmm.
as an individual. Um, so I think that's kind of what makes us human, right? I think it's
Yeah.
using those type of setbacks to kind of be like, hey, this is kind of life testing me. How am I going to respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and I think that's just day to day. I think even just pre-cancer, anytime you have this like emotional response to something or feeling this like sigh about something, like no, actually use that energy as kind of an opportunity, right? Like this is wow, this is I can use this for growth. I can evolve as a person, right? So um yeah, that's what I would share.
I have no doubt like this is gonna be something of the past. You're gonna get through it, no doubt. Um, is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to say? Is there anything you want to say to Solana, Christina, anybody?
Um, I think, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to express gratitude, right? For, a GoFundMe was,
Yes.
going back, yeah, at my lowest point was when I heard my oncologist say that you kind of have to start tying up your loose ends, and kind of get that bucket list because, yeah, you're chemo for life, pretty much meaning like chemo until the end, you know? So, yeah, you don't want to hear that, get your affairs in order type of thing. So that was a very, very low point. But, close friend of mine, Kyle, um, him and his wife, they set up a GoFundMe. They're just like, no, we're not going to take that. And then I was like, no, 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 don't please. And then they did it, and just like boom, just like it was like fire. It caught fire like very quickly. And just like people from all walks of my life, every chapter of my life, like came, sent me messages, and it just like was like a freaking boost in spirits for just not just me. It was like, but Christina, like my immediate family. Um, so that, yeah, that was great, and the GoFundMe has helped kind of alleviate a lot of again, the financial burden that, these naturopathic, because that's all private, right? So and those things are expensive, right? But again, it has helped me and it has helped us as a family unit kind of get through this. So yeah, again, expressing gratitude to the people that have been kind of listening in on the journey, constantly sending me messages, how you doing? Is there anything else that I can help you with? That's been great. So yeah, a lot of love for people that have been kind of tuning in.
But that just goes to show how you've impacted people like in your life. Like it just goes to show the type of person you are,
Mhm.
and how people want to help you. So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it is very beautiful to kind of see again people from every chapter, even like, since your elementary school days. And they're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you and like, heard about your journey, and then, and they contribute, and like even kids, contributing like $5, $10. Like for me, that was just like, oh, that broke my heart, right? It was like, again, that's like their lunch cafeteria money, right? But they're putting it forward. Um, so yeah, like I couldn't be more gracious in terms of receiving. Oh, there was so much love, and it was so much love that yeah, I constantly feel it every day too, right? And that's the thing that just keeps you going, right?
Yeah.
Because um yeah, it gives you hope. You try and cling on to that. So yeah, very happy, very fortunate.
Well, I will put the link in the comments and notes if that's okay
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, like again, there's no obligation for people to contribute. But again, if people wanted to follow along the story, the journey, they're more than welcome, right? I try and post an update every time like something significant happens within treatments or there's a positive update, then yeah, I'll put it forward.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, anything else? Did we miss anything?
Um, no, I think that's that covers it. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, of
Yeah.
course, if people uh, know somebody that is affected by cancer or they know somebody or they themselves are, they're always welcome to, you know, reach out to you and then you can connect them with me and I would love to talk to them, right?
No, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on and being vulnerable and telling this to everyone. I
Hmm.
know a lot of people can relate in whether just cancer. I know everyone knows someone that's going through it. So I know this will help a lot of people. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah.
All right.